Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on news about Desawe Kanda, also live on 23 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, Ghana is in pole position to get the second tranche of the IMF $600 million, but not after we have demonstrated how the external debt will be restructured. The IMF also noted that there's a lot of positives in the economy, but some fundamental concerns have been raised, which we'll be getting to with our experts tonight. Also, HIV positive patients are in struggling need of antiretrovirals because of the situation of shortage. We'll tell you why, as at now, some drugs have been detained at the ports because of the AU and ECOWAS levy. We'll delve into that situation on Ghana Tonight. Stay with us. Ghana's basic education seems to be dwindling more and more. Our studies have shown that just 62% of primary 2 students are unable to read comprehensively. The Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Chum, is saying Ghana's education cannot continue to depend on apprenticeship-produced leadership. What does that mean, really? Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. As always, we are very, very interactive. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get talking tonight on the issues that are of concern to all of us. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
Ghana must demonstrate how its external debt will be restructured to secure the IMF board's approval for the second tranche of $600 million. The IMF, after a review of the first tranche of economic stabilization, described the country's performance as very strong.
What makes us very optimistic is that these actions are already generating positive results. Growth in 2023 has proven more resilient than what we were initially envisaging. Inflation has declined, the fiscal and external positions have improved, international reserves are increasing again, and exchange rate volatility has significantly reduced. Once our executive board review is completed, Ghana would have access to another $600 million.
There's a shortage of antiretrovirals for persons living with HIV and AIDS. Antiretroviral medicines, which arrived in July, are reportedly to being held at the port, awaiting a tax waiver from the Finance Ministry.
Usually we are given 3 months, 6 months. They were given 1 month, and that has been going on for some time. Where we would have taken just one pill a day, we have to take 3, and we have to take 5 of the children's pills in the morning and 5 in the evening, so that's total. The total would be equal to the 1 dose would have been given every day.
The Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization has urged government to maintain a high-quality vaccine program as the country aims to self-finance vaccine procurement costs from 2029. This came up at a stakeholder meeting regarding a national transition plan on immunization and vaccine financing in Accra.
When Ghana finally starts fully financing its vaccines, there will be an increasing cost of maintaining such a high-quality program and maintaining that coverage. How does Ghana begin to optimize its vaccine portfolio so that it is more affordable? Secondly, how does Ghana think through co-financing over the next couple of years?
The government land task force has issued a warning to encroachers and sandwinners to refrain from occupying the dairy farm lands at Amrahia in Accra. The task force visited the farm to evaluate the extent of illegal activities committed.
The encroachers should halt so they don't waste their money. And if they want to authenticate whatever document they've been given, they should go to Lands Commission. And anybody who is interested in acquiring government land, I think we know the right place to go to. The Sun winners, my advice to them, when government gets hold of them, they'll be in big trouble.
The governing New Patriotic Party has given a delegate who will be voting in the November 4 flag bearer election up until October 13 to submit their details of proxy voting if they will not be physically present. They are required to show proof of absence or the cause of one's inability to show up and swear an affidavit or declaration form signed by a commissioner of oath. The list will then be published for the benefit of the public as well as to enable verification. This process will enable those who cannot show up the election day to participate in the voting process in a manner that does not compromise the sanctity of the polls.
Well, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Now, coming up next, there is shortage of antiretrovirals for persons living with HIV and AIDS. Antiretroviral medicines, which arrived in July this year, are reportedly being held at the ports, awaiting a tax waiver from the Finance Ministry because even though these antiretroviral drugs have some level of tax waivers because of the AU levy, the ECOWAS levy, and the COVID-19 levy, that's why they're stuck at the port since July. That's the situation that has led to, from what we're gathering now, persons living with HIV, some of them having to, one, take expired antiretrovirals, and secondly, also been administered with antiretrovirals that is meant for children, being administered on adults because of this shortage of antiretrovirals, and how deadly the situation is now that we're learning that expired antiretrovirals have actually been now the lifesaver for some of them. So Elsie Aye is the national president of the network of persons living with HIV and AIDS. We spoke to her earlier to give us details of how serious the situation is. Take a look.
2 days ago, when we got the call, and it was a very frantic call from our members at Kolebu Teaching Hospital who had gone for their medication, and they were usually we are given 3 months, 6 months. They were given 1 month, and that had been going on for some time. Where we would have taken just one pill a day, we have to take 3, and we have to take 5 of the children's pills in the morning and 5 in the evening, so that's the total would be equal to the 1 dose would have been given every day. The situation got to this level, but I don't think it's an excuse. If there has to be that tax waiver we are requesting, it should be done by Parliament. But they are on recess. But then there should be something that there should be an alternative. There should be, though they are on recess, there should be an open door for urgent matters such as this, so that those people are trusted to take the right decision and let things go on well. So what is preventing some from the select committee in Parliament to be called to look at this very urgent issue so that we could have our medication?
Elsie Aye, who is the national president of the network of persons living with HIV. She's asking questions of Parliament. And as we go on, the ranking member on the Parliament's Health Committee, Kwabena Mintah-Kano, is going to be joining us, who would ask these questions on behalf of LCIA and on behalf of all the persons living with HIV and AIDS in this country, of having to live with this shortage of antiretrovirals that's impacting on them heavily. Now, just for you to understand how serious the situation is, according to the Ghana AIDS Commission, we have a little over 355,000 people living with HIV and AIDS in this country. A little over 355,000 in total, male and female. As we go on, I'll give you the gender breakdown. But as at the end of 2022, this is how the regional breakdown looked like. Take a look. Per the end of 2022 data from the Ghana AIDS Commission and then also the AIDS Control Program, we have Greater Accra topping with, as at the end of 2022, 6,863. The Ashanti region, 6,735. Eastern region follows in that order, 4,968 caseload. That's persons living with HIV and AIDS. And the Central region, 2,572. The Bono region, 2,182. In the Western region, 1,960. The Volta region follows in that order, 1,830. Bono East, 1,697 persons living with HIV and AIDS as at the end of 2022. In the Western North region, 1,260. In the Ahafo region, 905. In the Northern region, 733. And in the Otu region, 621. The Upper East region, 620. That's at the end of 2022. In the Upper West region, 507. Savannah, 273. And in the Northeast, 144 persons. And the Greater Accra, Ashanti, Volta, and Eastern region, in fact, following in that order, the first three. Now, this is at the end of 2022. Let me just put it on record that the figure has increased, or the number of persons living with HIV and AIDS has increased astronomically between January and June this year. That's why we're having some 355,000 documented persons. The Ghana AIDS Commission itself has indicated that there are so many people walking around with the HIV virus who don't even know that they're carrying the virus and are spreading it either intentionally or innocently or unintentionally for that matter. Kwabena Kando is ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament and is joining us on the telephone. I thank you so much, Mr. Kando, for time here on Ghana Tonight. We just heard from the president of the Persons Living with HIV and AIDS. She's asking questions of you, Parliament. We understand that the Ghana Health Service says these medicines at the ports that have been locked up since July will be cleared by Wednesday. Does that answer the concerns that you put out earlier?
That's utterly nonsense. When you have an irresponsible government in place, this is what you see. We are not angry as a country enough. Why must we get to where we are at the moment, where a foreign donor, a partner, gives you drugs that you don't have? Then you keep the medicines or the drugs at the port since July, and you create needless shortages in the system. Then you come back and tell me that we should wait until next week, Wednesday. What can government do within 24 hours? This is a national health emergency. It's an emergency. Why are they doing that? And the issue is even there than what we know. In fact, before their so-called Ukraine war and then COVID-19, in 2019, we lost not less than $21 million just because government refused to pay its counterpart funding to grant that PEPFAR and Global Fund were giving us. As I speak to you now, government is still owing, and so the counterpart funding is not forthcoming. In next year, January, February, if we are not very careful, we are going to lose another $13 million just because government is not paying counterpart funding. What kind of government is this? And you cannot find this in any country in the world apart from another dance of government. That somebody dashes you free of charge medication, take it to your country, take it to your people. And then when the consignment arrives, the consignment then sits at your port. Why? Because we need exemptions to clear. And the consignment sits there from July, September, and we are in October. June, July, August, September, and we are in October. What kind of wickedness is this? What kind of insensitivity is this? It's pure recklessness, and nothing short of that. When we are talking about health matters, yesterday we were talking about dialysis. Today we are talking about HIV. 3 days ago we were talking about vaccines for measles. I don't know what we'll be talking about tomorrow. Why?
Well,
why? What's our crime as a country?
Well, Elsie Aye, who is the national president of the Network of Persons Living with HIV and AIDS, you just heard her, we played that video. She is calling on you, Parliament, to, even though you're on recess, you can do something about this. But as a health committee, sure, this is an issue that you will sink your teeth into to ensure that this doesn't happen again, is it not?
We will follow up, but must we always be doing this? 3 days ago, even as at this time, we were still at Kolebu, having meetings with management in Kolebu. That has even not been resolved. Look at what you are creating again. It took Ghana a lot of effort to convince, HIV patients to own up to go for their HIV antiretroviral drug. Look at the gains we have made all this while. Now people voluntarily go. And now because it is in short supply, people are going to go off the medication. And you know what happens? What is happening is that the virus is going to grow resistant to the medication even if they come back. And that the virus, there's going to be, a spike in the HIV/AIDS in this country. What do you wait? What I told you is that this HIV/AIDS has been sponsored by donor funds all this while. Just contribute, just show commitment, and get more in dollars. You know you won't do, but you go and build cathedral. What kind of government is this? It's unconscionable.
But you see, the reason why this situation is upon the persons living with HIV and AIDS is that they said that even though the medicines arrived in July, free medicines, as indicated, that donor agencies have given to us, is because the AU levy, COVID levy, and ECOWAS levy has not been paid. That's why it's stuck at the pot since July. Mr. Kando.
They're ashamed of themselves, and they are telling Ghanaians this. Even if you cannot waive the AU levy, what prevents government from paying that AU levy? Is COVID levy to an international levy? COVID levy is an international levy. It doesn't just make sense. It doesn't make sense in any part of the world. And I don't think any president or any government will do that. It doesn't. If you like today, tomorrow, go and find out about what is going on at what you call AIDS Commission. Go and find out what is going on, even if they have the CCTV in their office. We don't even know the last time government made releases to that particular commission. Meanwhile, it sits directly under the president. The office of the president. It doesn't fall under any ministry. It falls directly under the office of the president. And look at what is happening. You know. So it has an emergency, a national emergency that we must all be very, very, very aggressive on, because nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. We've made a lot of gains going forward, and unfortunately, all these gains are going to be eroded because of the recklessness of the government.
Well, we wait till Wednesday. That's what the Ghana Health Service has said, that by Wednesday, in fact, we understand they've released some funds to the clearing agent to go and take these medicines. Finally, after this thing became public, and the persons living with HIV decided to speak up and speak to the media about this for the whole world to know about what's going on and what they're going through. For some very miraculous reason, they've been able to find money. Government has been able to find money since July. Today, money has been found and given to the clearing agent to go and pay the AU levy, COVID levy, and ECOWAS levy, so that this antiretrovirals, free medicines, could be made available to persons living with HIV and AIDS. That's the reality that they've been faced with. Comrade Kando is the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament. Thank you for joining us. Now, let me take you through this. This is how the picture looks like. So if we have the documented number of persons living with HIV and AIDS, that's 355,000. Take a look at this. Per their gender breakdown. This is as at the second quarter of 2023. But as at the third quarter of 2022, in terms of the breakdown of the gender, 33,870 persons as at that particular period in 2022 tested positive for HIV and AIDS. 9,853 of them were male. And guess what? 24,017 of them were female. So as a Ghana Health Commission has always said, that women are more susceptible to getting the HIV and AIDS or being infected than male. Now, take a look at this as well. The female population that I just showed you, the 24,017, pregnant women who tested positive for the HIV, 5,448. And the female who were not pregnant but tested positive for HIV, 17,840. For the male population, the 9,853, adult male, 9,160 persons tested positive for HIV, and children, 693 children tested positive for HIV and AIDS. That's how worrying the picture looks like. And the numbers, unfortunately, keeps growing by the day. That's what we're faced with, and Ghana's commission has been raising alarm over this, even though there's a self-testing kit that's also not improved the situation. But you're still live here on Ghana Tonight as we keep tabs on this till Wednesday to hear what happens next. Coming up next, Ghana has received a boost and it's on course to get the second tranche of the International Monetary Fund loan money. But that will be after the country has demonstrated how its external debt will be restructured to secure the IMF board's approval for the second tranche of the $600 million. Now, let's take a listen to, in fact, what happened earlier today. That the whole precondition is that Ghana must demonstrate how its external debtors, but as the creditors, would forgive our debts. Now, the staff de mission to Ghana, of the IMF to Ghana, indicated earlier today at a press conference that per their own review, Ghana is on course. The indicators look good. And that's why there's a surety that all things being equal, the IMF Executive Board will approve the second tranche of the $600 million. Take a look.
What makes us very optimistic is that these actions are already generating positive results. Growth in 2023 has proven more resilient than what we were initially envisaging. Inflation has declined. The fiscal and external positions have improved. International reserves are increasing again, and exchange rate volatility has significantly reduced. Once our executive board review is completed, Ghana would have access to another $600 million, bringing the total IMF financial support disbursed under the arrangement since May, when the program was approved, to about $1.2 billion.
Let's hear from the governor of the central bank as well, who spoke at this press conference, talking about inflation rates reducing and then no issues about the monetary policy. Dr. Ernest Addison, take a look.
We have seen relative stability in the exchange rate, depreciating by only 2.5% between February and now. It is therefore very important to sustain this strong performance and consolidate the gains we are seeing. Looking ahead, the Bank of Ghana will continue to maintain a tight monetary policy stance.
Well, the finance minister was also there at this press conference, a joint press conference between the IMF and the government of Ghana, the finance ministry and the Bank of Ghana. The finance minister says that all this shows that Ghana's economy has achieved stability. Take a look.
External creditors, I believe we are doing well with regards to the engagement. Expected that this coming week we might actually get a proposal for them. Our target is to be able to conclude this thing before year end, and we are pursuing it. And I think achievements of the SLA also puts pressure on coming to faster resolution. So this achievement is important towards our negotiating stance going forward. The Paris Club Common Framework, MOU, certainly France and China continue to be very supportive.
Let's stay a bit further on this. Professor John Gachi is the Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School, joining us on Zoom. Professor Gachi, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So based on your own analysis of the various factors or indicators, would it be right and wholly right to say that Ghana's economy has achieved stability as we speak?
Thank you for having me. Well, it is not a factual statement to state that Ghana's economy has now settled on stability. What is happening is that we expect that when the IMF is on board, things will be done right, and we will be able to see interest, we'll be able to see exchange rate stabilizing, and then we will see inflation dropping, and then that will help further improve the economy. So we have started seeing the sign and the wisdom of urging the government to go to the IMF. We have just started barely within the year. We are dealing with a 3-year program, so it is very early for us to come to conclusion that we have stabilized. We cannot stabilize at a 40% inflation rate. We cannot stabilize at a lending rate of about 35%. We cannot stabilize at 30% policy rate. So we cannot stabilize at a point where the cost structure of businesses has changed and that the pricing of their product and services to the public remain very high. That is not what we expect to achieve, but that will be achieved at the end of the day. So stability and that kind of recovery statement that the finance minister is making, I think it's too early for us to settle on that.
So we look at indicators, for instance, like inflation, which has reduced at least between January and now. But then you look at if you disaggregate the data and look at food inflation, even though there's been an 8% reduction, it is still high. But how about the cedi stability as well? The currency has experienced some relative stability. Can it be as a result of any specific intervention by government, or because we have not been servicing our external debt?
Well, the huge part is coming from we not meeting our external obligations because we have defaulted. So that is not on the table, and that pressure on the on the currency is not available. So that is a huge element for the respite that the cedi has received. And if we settle on the debt exchange program, and over time payment of external obligations begins, that will be a different story. Most of the policy measures taken by the central bank within the last 2 years have not helped in providing the economic outcome that we want for the country. Of course, the governor indicated that they are still pressed on to use those policies today, but we believe that this time for the central bank should focus on price stability measures, but at the same time look a nice way of intervening in the real economy to see how that will result into a better result for the economy.
And talk about interventions in the real economy. What are some of the interventions that you propose should be considered going forward?
Well, in some countries like Kenya and co, they look at the economy to see what is so sensitive to the drive of inflation, to see whether the central bank can direct its financing to those areas. And that will be more beneficial than providing funding to SOEs which are not performing and which are not also able to repay the money they took from the central bank. So, for example, we can look at agriculture sector, for example, and see which area that the central bank can direct its intervention to in terms of helping the production of agricultural produce, which is actually related to food inflation. And by so doing, the central bank may achieve better results in terms of inflation.
I see. Now, the second tranche release is contingent on governments getting assurances from the external creditors and, in fact, successfully restructuring those debts that both the Paris Club and the multilaterals and all the others, China and all that, we owe. What do you envisage what would happen in the coming days, especially because the finance minister says that in the coming days there's going to be an agreement reached? Is it going to be that easy?
Well, we do know that it seems domestic debt exchange program is easier to achieve because government exert its pressure on people, make the whole process like a quasi-compulsory. But that would not be the same case for external debt restructuring. We have different type of investors who have to agree, and then that makes it more complicated. We have received this information from the authorities about how we are inching closer to a deal, but we have not yet reached that. So until that is done, I believe it is not necessary to put some hope on the statement of the minister, because that is not in his hand. So we only hope and pray that they will step up their effort to ensure that by this time they are able to conclude on something, especially as the next tranche of money is dependent on clinching a deal with regard to the external debt exchange program.
But that is not going to be coming as free lunch, is it not? It certainly will come at a cost.
Well, I don't understand the cost that you're talking about, but what is going to happen is that we are virtually appealing to the external creditors to elongate their maturity profile and to sacrifice some interest.
Yes,
and
but
when
that's the point I'm making. In sacrificing their interest, they would certainly put their demands on the table, is it not?
Of course, yes. So when that is done, it's just like the domestic exchange program that was concluded, but you know that government has started paying some coupons for some of the debt that have matured. I think a month ago, with some difficulty. So that will also come with some requirement of payment of, I think, about $2 billion that is expected to be paid when the program is executed. So definitely it's not going to be so easy for us as a country, but that is needed to clinch the next release of funds.
I appreciate your time, Professor Gachi. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Professor John Gachi is the Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School with his thoughts on this. But take a look at the external creditors that the Finance Minister talks about, engagement with them being progressive and something being achieved in the coming weeks. So we talk about the Paris Club, which is a group of officials from major creditor countries whose role is to find some coordinated and sustainable solutions to a country's debt situation. So the Paris Club, we owe the Paris Club, we owe China, right? There's some external creditors or investors who are invested in our Euro bonds. So you hear the finance minister going on road shows. That's when you get these external creditors investing in our Euro bonds. Multilaterals, you have other commercial investors as well in there. So that's how the external creditor pie chart looks like. So the persons we're dealing with. And then the domestic debt, as for the internal creditors or persons who have invested in various government instruments internally, this has been done. The holders of the domestic debt, that's what they've done, the domestic debt exchange program, with commercial banks heavily hit, You know about what happened with the insurance companies as well. The rural banks, pension funds, the Bank of Ghana heavily hit. That's what the governor has always said that led to this over 60 billion cedis lost last year. We understand government, the proposal of this 15 billion cedis, the Financial Stability Fund, it has not been established yet. We understand there's a committee that has been put in place, but nothing is happening as we speak. And then you have some foreign investors and others as well who hold the domestic debt of this country. Now, this is Ghana Tonight. Now, coming up next, the Minister of Education, Dr. Yose Duchim, is saying that Ghana's education cannot continue to depend on apprenticeship-produced leadership, but on purposefully trained leaders interested in learning outcomes. In fact, he reveals that a study by the National Standardized Test conducted in 2022 on the reading abilities of primary 2 students showed that 62% of primary 2 pupils couldn't read. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. We have a conversation on this. Gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
So Musa Mijinaha, a Franco Trading Enterprise, or television papa pano, and I'm a good swami do one dance yet. So what's the hotels, hospitals, schools, offices, apartments? Sorry, now we'll pet CV papa pa, Ediabomu, a Franco television. A papa one ya brantia west so, who pet CV the above them, and Shababia, say Franco Trading Enterprise. You were 24 inches for her, 32 inches for her, 43 inches for her, 55 inches, and I can see 65 inches. It's a show when you have baby. Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise. Television, papa. I ain't
Eliza, are you sleeping on the job, girlfriend?
I was dreaming. I woke up to this nightmare.
Alyssa, an 18-year-old, runs away from home to escape the abuse and harassment of her stepfather.
Come any closer and I will cut you.
For a hope of a better life in the city and to pursue her dream of becoming a supermodel.
Hold on, wait a second. You're very pretty.
She soon finds out that achieving her dream will be a lot harder than she ever imagined. She gets caught up in a web of 2 men after her heart, a street vendor who believes in her dream and another who's making her dream happen.
You must be the famous Carolina Castillo.
How are you, dear? This is Lily, my beloved wife.
Watch the story unfold in Total Dreamer, a captivating, intriguing, and thrilling drama. Total Dreamer, premiering this Monday at 8 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by
MTN DES Shower Gel.
The past 12 weeks of this year's Ghana's Most Beautiful competition, contestants have been on a journey of sheer determination, showcasing great talent and the rich culture of our beautiful nation on the Ghana's Most Beautiful stage. 5 beautiful ladies, Na Ayele, the courageous one from the Greater Accra region. Adwanigi, the bold one from the Upper East region. Selom, the ambitious one from the Volta region, Kwatma, the determined one from the Bono region, and Nura, the assertive one from the northern region. Come 8th of October at the National Theatre, dreams will be realized, and one of these exceptional ladies will be crowned Ghana's Most Beautiful 2023. Keep pushing your favorite contestants to win the most coveted crown, the cash, and the car by voting to the short code *713 *13# on all mobile networks. You can also download the TV3 Reality app on App Store or Play Store. It will be an amazing night of glitz and glamour. Grab your tickets for a cool 50 Ghana cedis and come support your favorite queen on the 8th of October at the National Theatre, 8 p.m. sharp. Ghana's Most Beautiful, Ghana's Beauty, Africa's Pride.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Camon 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soap, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubna Womwankasa, Dragnet, Shalatem, Top Choco.
Save 500.
Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
Mac Brown's Kitchen. Mac Brown's Kitchen.
I'm ready to send me to Mac Brown's Kitchen. New season, new stations. Hey, Mac Brown's Kitchen. Oh, na what TV so I check. I knew who you check, but the Yami and Chakrano. But TV3. Mimi Devia. 5 to 6 p.m. Nana Yabasha Wati. Minimi Kunumi Mayabasha Sasako. Ghana Fodo. Hey, that's it.
McBrown's Kitchen, premiering Saturday, October 7th at 5 p.m. on TV3.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. The Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Duchum, is saying that Ghana's education cannot continue to depend on apprenticeship-produced leadership, but on purposefully trained leaders interested in learning outcomes. He was speaking at the Ministry of Education's launch of the National Education Leadership Institute in Takoradi, saying that a study by the National Standardized Test conducted in 2022 on the reading abilities of Primary 2 pupils showed that 62% of Primary 2 pupils could not read. And that's the quote that is attributed to him, that in 2022, the investments made and was able to have Primary 2 students in the country on the National Standardized Test. Now we see just about 48%. But it says the test results which is out reveals that 38% of the students, that's the Primary 2 pupils, can read. 62% of them cannot read. Now, Dr. Peter Patianti is the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. IFS is joining us on Zoom. Dr. Patianti, thank you now for joining us on Ghana Tonight. The Education Minister is pointing to some progress that has been made at the primary level. But the problem with the primary level is much bigger than the ability of the children to read. I said no.
First of all, let's look at the NST results that was announced by the Minister of Education. Of course, the NST was designed to serve as what we call in education a diagnostic test. A diagnostic test is designed to diagnose the challenges that students are facing within the confines of. So the NST in its inception was designed as a diagnostic test to ensure that teachers would have an idea of the areas that their students are not meeting, especially because we were implementing the standard-based curriculum. We have set standards that we want pupils to reach. So the NST was to give teachers, school authorities, headmasters, parents, an idea of the level at which their children or the kids are meeting these set standards, and then design interventions to ensure that they improve on whatever it is that they are doing. So this is I think we started I think 2 years ago. That was the first time, and then they did another one for the for the basics to pupils. And I think that we should not be so much interested in the national average. We should be focusing on the individual schools and the individual pupils, their performance in their various schools, because that is the purpose of that particular test that was instituted. That what is the reading ability, I mean the literacy level of pupils in each class of the various basic schools that sat for the exams. So that is the focus of the NST. So I don't think that the focus should be on a national average of 38% as being announced by the minister to show that there's improvement. Normally, when you look at some of these averages, you will think that there's something that is, I mean, something better is happening. But then when you delve into the individual schools, you would note that it is not as good as that average data is portraying. And I think that the focus should be more on that. Again, I think that the investments that we are making at the basic level should clearly indicate to us the reason why we are where we are. Even if we take the national average as an example, 62% people who's in our basics 2 cannot read or write. What are the investments that we are making? What are the resources that we are devoting to ensure that literacy and numeracy is made paramount at this level of higher education? The investments are zilch. We've been talking about lack of textbook for how many years now? 3 or 4 years. And when we talk about that, the response that we were given was that, the teachers have the teacher manual. The teachers should innovate. They will be able to do this. Then we were given an example. You want the students to learn how to read and write. Okay, how do you teach language without giving students access to the same books that the teacher is having? So we have created a situation whereby it is very difficult to allow or to ensure that the students would grasp the literacy and the numeracy skills that we want them to grasp, because we do not provide the needed resources that needed to be provided at that level. So we don't come back and then blame or act as if we don't know what is happening. We are not investing at the basic level, and if we are not investing, what it means is that the end result is what we are seeing: lack of ability of our young ones to read and write. And basically that is what I would want to say. If you want them to engage in reading, provide them with the books, provide them with the materials, equip the teachers, give the teachers the requisite materials, let the teachers focus on their reading ability, let the teachers focus on their numeracy skills, and then let's see if there will be an improvement. If you do not invest in that, you don't expect to reap any kind of benefit at the end.
But you see, Dr. Petanti, that bit about the provision of the materials to the schools, investing in them for them to be able to produce the results. Capitation grant, the last time we checked, has been in arrears for quite a while now, and we understand that some of the heads of the public basic schools have had to run the schools with their own money for the past 3-4 terms or so. Has anything changed?
Capitation, it's the same old story. the amount of money that goes to the schools are not enough when you compare that to the enrollment level, and it delays, and sometimes it doesn't even go at all. And you see how headmasters are struggling at the basic level to run the school administratively, because that is the only source of income that comes to them, and they use that to do all those things that they are supposed to do. So these are the challenges that people who run basic schools are facing. And sometimes when you talk about some of these things, it's just a matter of letting people appreciate that we need a strong foundation to ensure that our other levels of education, I mean the junior high school, the senior high school, and the tertiary institutions are giving the kind of materials that they can continue to refine to make them useful for the society. If we do not do that, at the end of the day, what is going to happen is that we will push these people through the system, people who cannot read or write, people who cannot do basic numeracy, and they will get to the tertiary institutions and there will not be any improvement. If you build a foundation by investing in the foundation of our education, paying the capitation grants, ensuring that the resources are given them, making sure that the teachers are available, and not just teachers, quality teachers, qualified teachers, professional teachers are made available, and also making sure that teachers do not have large classes, then you can say that you are making investment at the basic level, and the end result will be improvement in learning outcomes.
In learning outcomes. Appreciate your time. Dr. Peter Patanti, thank you very much. Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, IFES. This is Ghana Tonight. Up next, we'll go straight to the Savannah region, where we give you an update on the Dolly Bridge there, because the Wasola-Bole Highway in the Savannah region was blocked again earlier in the week as a result of an accident on that stretch of the bridge. A long truck in the late hours of Tuesday, October 3, was involved in an accident in the middle of the bridge that is just in a makeshift state. Now, I wanted to take a look at this. On Tuesday, this is what happened. And we'll cross over shortly to my colleague, our Northern and Savannah regional correspondent, Christopher Mwako, who has been monitoring the situation in that part of the country, to give us an update. But this is what happened. Take a look at this. This is the state of the bridge when it was washed away by flood waters, and commuters had to use a canoe. Then there was some temporary fix of the bridge. That's the temporary one you see there. The Member of Parliament wasn't too happy about this temporary situation, and true to his concerns, there was an accident. Christopher Marco is joining us. Chris, what's the update on this Dolly Bridge?
Yes, so Alfred, a portion of the bridge has been cleared for buses, that is smaller vehicles, to be able to cross to both ends of the bridge. As we speak, a communique has been issued by the Ministry of Roads indicating that all long vehicles flying or commuting from the southern part of the country who want to go through Wa to neighboring Burkina Faso and other places should pass through Kintampo, Bupe, Damango Junction, then they navigate again to Damango, then they hit the Sola and Wa highway. They cannot pass through Bole, and those also coming from the Wa and Burkina Faso area cannot pass through Bole. They will have to pass through Damango before they are able to access each end of the parts of the country. And thus, Alfred, is making it very difficult for commuters and drivers, because if you look at the distance, it is very far, because you have to cross through to Bupe, then you curve again and navigate backwards before you hit the Wasola highway. So it's costly, according to the drivers, and for that matter, they want the roads ministry to immediately fix the bridge for them to be able to use it.
I see, but that truck that we just saw in the video that was involved in an accident hasn't been moved.
Not entirely, just a portion of it. The head has been moved. The tail is still hanging up there, and these buses, smaller buses, are maneuvering themselves through to be able to access each end of the road.
I see, but just a brief one. How important is that stretch of the road that's now been truncated?
Okay, so Alfred, if you are moving towards the Upper West region, if you want to access Sola, Upper West region, you know that most of the tracks that go into neighboring Burkina Faso use that particular stretch, and so it is very, very important, Alfred. So if now that this particular incident has happened, like I said earlier, it makes the journey very far, because you will have to pass through Sola, then you go through Damango again, hit the main Damango Fufuso road, that is the main Tamale Kumasi road, before you are able to access Bupe, then Kintampo to Techima. But if the bridge is worked on, it will become very simple, because when you get to Kintampo, you branch and you head towards Bamboy, you hit Bole, you hit Sola, you are in the Upper West region. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Christopher Marco, and keep your eyes on this one for the viewers. Appreciate it as always. Christopher Marco is our Northern and Savannah regional correspondent. Well, that's it for Ghana Tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us here. Join us same time on Monday for another conversation. But join me and the team and my expert panel tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for Key Point, where we talk about the key issues, go straight to the point, to the benefit of you, our viewers. And you have a say in what we say as well. So make a date tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Also live on 3FM 92.7. On behalf of the rest of the team here on Ghana Tonight, we appreciate your company. Have a great weekend. I am Alfred Ocansey.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is advised.